What's up everyone? Welcome to Talk Birdie to Me. Today I'll be giving my review of the Nike ACG Ultrafly. Alright, so this shoe came out this year, had its big debut at Western States last year when Caleb Olson won in it. And I have had it for about a month and I've gotten some runs in it. And I thought I'd give you my thoughts right now. I'll also be comparing the Ultrafly to two other trail super shoes, one the On-Cloud Ultra Pro, and then the other the Adidas Agravic Speed Ultra 1. Alright, so the Ultrafly, it has a Nike ZoomX midsole, which is a PEBA foam, top quality, super foam. Has a Vibram outsole with pretty shallow lugs, I think 3 millimeters. But yeah, so pretty shallow there. It has a very stiff carbon plate. I can't bend this thing at all. And then it has a pretty padded, nice upper. The upper, compared to other super shoes I've worn, it's definitely the most comfortable, most padded. Would happily wear this upper all day long for like 100 miles, which I can't say for something like the Adidas Agravic Speed Ultra. So that's a really big pro of this shoe. Amazing upper. Yeah, midsole, awesome, very responsive. The one thing with this shoe is when looking at the geometry, it doesn't have much of a rocker, and so it makes it so that even though it has a nice bouncy midsole foam, it's not the fastest on flat ground when comparing it to a shoe like the Adidas Agravic Speed Ultra, which has a really extreme rocker. This rolls really well, but even the On-Cloud Ultra Pro, it doesn't have it's not nearly as stiff. It doesn't have a carbon plate, but because of that rocker, it does transition better on flat ground when compared to the Ultrafly. However, I think the lack of that rocker, this being a pretty flat ride for a carbon plated shoe, makes it surprisingly stable. When going downhill, I took this on some pretty technical northeast trails. And it's a nice, I'm able to plant on a rock. It doesn't slip at all because of that Vibram outsole, and it feels very stable because of that stiff platform, and a flat feeling, much more stable than those other two trail super shoes, for me when going down, on rocky terrain. I was actually surprised, I was totally able to run downhill on pretty technical trails, totally fine in this. Which definitely in the Adidas Agravic Speed Ultra I'm not able to. On there, it's okay, but just a little tippier feeling than this. And so yeah, that downhill ability was really exciting for me. I was thinking that I'm racing a 50-miler up in Quebec pretty soon, and I was thinking this would be my race day shoe for that. However, one issue I did have with this is that plate is so stiff that when you're going uphill, it climbs fine, but it was putting a lot of strain on my soleus, and I've actually had a little niggle, a little mini injury in my soleus that popped up when I was running in the shoe, and I think it's because the foot's doing no flexing here with this shoe. All of that strain is on your soleus and calf when climbing up steep terrain, and yeah, it's so stiff, and I think that it's something that you'd have to work up to. I don't do much running in plated shoes, especially on the road. I don't really run in plated shoes very often. I think that if you wanted to race a long ultra in this, you'd have to run in plated shoes more and really get that soleus used to the plate. And that's a spot where these other two super shoes, because they don't have a carbon plate, because they're, I can actually bend them. I'm able to at least get some flexion in the foot, and that's putting less of that flex on the soleus, less strain on the soleus. And so that's why I wanted to race in this shoe for my 50-miler, but I don't think that my body could handle it. I think I'm likely going to run with the On-Cloud Ultra Pro, even though I think this is actually better on technical terrain, like I said, because of that flatter geometry. And then weight-wise, this is it's the exact same as all of the other trail super shoes right now. They're all around 9.5 ounces for a sample size, and my size, they're all 9.3 ounces. This one's slightly heavier than the On-Cloud Ultra Pro. all pretty comparable. It's kind of funny that like all of the trail super shoes have coalesced on that one weight class. But I think, yeah, it feels totally fine, pretty light. Yeah, and on the outsole, again, like Vibram, really good grip. The lugs are small, so like really muddy conditions, this isn't going to be great, but all of these sort of have pretty shallow lugs. I don't think we've seen a true trail super shoe with 4 or 5 millimeter lugs. And so that's going to be an issue with any of them. So yeah, just a quick review, because right now the shoe is on sale at a lot of places for $180. That's how I picked it up when it was on sale, and I think for $180, it's super awesome. Comfortable, fast. I had one of my best long runs ever in this shoe. It's really just, yeah, if you can get used to that plate, I think that this is kind of a perfect trail super shoe. I just wish, I really wish that they would use a plastic plate instead of the carbon plate, and then I think I'd be able to, it would be my go-to. One other issue is that at Western States this year, the Nike athletes were already ditching this shoe. They were running in some new prototype, and so it's a little bit of a bummer that a shoe that came out this year is already out of date, basically. That being said, it's still an amazing shoe, and it's on sale, but it is a bummer that, what the elites have on their feet is already better than the best that we have right now. Anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this review. I would recommend this shoe if you're alright with a really stiff plate. If you did like it, please subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, and as always, keep on running.